I'm back again with another video, and this time I am coming with part 2 of how to start a t-shirt business. In part 1, we talked about my recommendations of how to start a t-shirt business by my experiences, and if you have not watched part 1, please click the link over here to go and watch part 1 so that you can be caught up as we go into part 2. We're going to talk about the heat press. If you watch my part 1 video, you will see why I recommend starting out doing t-shirts using the heat press. There are a few different types of heat presses. First we have the clamshell press, next we have the swing away press, and then we have the slider or the drawer press. And we also have specialty presses such as the cap press or mug press. This video we're mostly going to focus on t-shirt printing, although some people do t-shirt printing along with printing other items, but for the sake of staying on topic, we're only going to talk about t-shirt printing. Heat presses can range in size from 9.5 by 12 inches to 40 by 64 inches. The clamshell press is very easy to operate. Just like in its name, it's a clamshell press, so the press is closed like this, and you open it, it goes straight up like that, open and close, and you would place the shirt on the bottom platen and close it down. Some of the things with using a clamshell press, it's pretty quick and easy to use because you only have one motion, the up and down, up, and then you remove your items and you put a new item on there and you close it down to print it. The clamshell press takes up less space than any of the other presses because it limited motion, just straight up and down. And using a clamshell press, you have to be careful, especially if you're a beginner, because the heating block, you can't move it out of your way. Once you open it up, the heat is coming from the heating block. And when you put your item down that you're printing, you have to be careful not to burn your hands because that thing is hot, up to 400 degrees usually. And when you put the items on there, the heat, you're feeling the heat because you can't move it out of your way. So when you put the items on there, you have to be careful not to burn your hands. And so that's, one of the negative things with it. It's easy to burn your hands because of the limited movement of it. And another negative thing about it is when you're printing t-shirts, it's okay, but when you start printing thicker items like sweatshirts and different type of items like that, sometimes you have problems with the items getting even pressure, which could mess up your print depending on what you're printing. But they are a space saver, so the clamshell press would be one to look at if you don't have a lot of space. The next one we're going to talk about is the swing away press. So with the swing away press, that's the type of press that I have, and one of the things with the swing away press, you can print items of different thicknesses, and you can print things such as plaques or mouse pads. You can print them easily because you can adjust the pressure. And when you're printing your shirts, it's easy when you're using a swing away press to move the heating block out of your way. You lift it up, straight up, just like a clamshell press, then you rotate it out of your way to either the left or the right direction depending on what press you have. But mine rotates to the right. I'm not sure, they may all rotate to the right, but you can move it out of your way, which makes it easy for you to put your shirt or whatever you're printing there. And also you can put the design on there and adjust it and make sure it's in the correct place easily because you don't have to worry about burning your hands. The swing away presses are also good for doing sublimation printing because the different items you can print doing sublimation printing, such as the mouse pads, plaques, or whatever you may be printing. One of the negative things with the swing away press is space, which could be a negative or positive thing. If you don't have a lot of space, the swing away press may not be for you because when you lift the platen up, you have to swing it out of your way, and it usually needs space in the back, maybe a foot and a half or so, depending on how big your press is, maybe up to 2 feet, so that you won't hit a wall or whatever is behind you. I didn't mention with the clamshell press, you can print quicker because all you're doing is you put the item down and you close the press and open it and remove your item and you place your next item on there. But with the swing away press, you have an extra step. You're not only lifting it up, but you're swinging it away, and then you remove your item and then you put your new item, then you close it, you swing it back over your platen and you close it down, which takes a few extra seconds, which is, I don't find that a problem, but I'd rather use the swing away than the clamshell and have to worry about burning your hands. The next press is the slider. I have never really had any dealings with a slider, but it's basically the bottom platen. You can slide it out and you can thread your shirt on there instead of having to lay the shirt flat like you would have to on the clamshell and the swing away press, which works out good when you have a front and a back of a shirt to print. That way you don't have to print your item over the required amount of time, because if you print the front and the back, print it and then you flip it over and then you print the other side, and a lot of times you are over printing when you could have just put it on there and rotated it around and printed the other side. The hat press is self-explanatory, along with the mug press. You know, they're mostly used to print mugs or possibly cups, and the hat press is used mostly to print on hats, which you could also use a hat press to print something like tags in your t-shirt. And those are the different types of presses that are available right now on the market. Some of them have a lot of different features. It depends on if you're doing budget type shopping or if you don't have a budget, because there are so many different options that you can get on heat presses. They have some that have interchangeable platens or palettes. You can print on shoes, plates. You can print on all different types of items using those interchangeable platens. And some of the accessories that I would recommend when you're buying a press is to get a fitted Teflon sheet for your bottom pallet and get a Teflon sheet that is sized to fit your heat press, and that way you protecting it, because sometimes when you're printing items it can get stuck on your heater if you don't use a Teflon sheet. Whatever transfers or vinyl, it could melt and stick on there, and then the next time you print a shirt it could stick to the shirt and mess that up. So it's best to use platen protection such as the cover for the bottom pallet and the Teflon sheets that are sized, and they sell them in different sizes. You could buy one in pretty much any size. Some of the heat presses, they come with digital or analog controls. The one that I have, it actually has analog controls, and I don't really mind that. Once you turn it on, there's a light that comes on, and once it reaches the appropriate temperature, the light will go off, so you'll know what temperature it's on. You can also get presses that have auto open and have timers that beep and let you know when the time is up for the amount of time you have printed the shirt. So that's pretty much it. The size that you get would depend on what type of printing you would mostly be doing, but I would not recommend getting anything smaller than a 15 by 15 press if you are going to be doing t-shirts. If you're going to be doing a lot of jerseys, like for teams or oversized printing, I would recommend the 16 by 20. I purchased the 15 by 15 press about 7 or 8 years ago when I first started, and I have been able to use it up to this day. I still currently use that press, so there's nothing wrong with the 15 by 15 press. But you know, if you plan on doing a lot of jerseys or oversized printing, the 16 by 20 may be for you. If you plan on printing like a baby clothing line, you wouldn't necessarily need these bigger size presses that I'm talking about, but it never hurts to have a press that's bigger than what you actually need. You can always use the extra space, but if the press is too small for what you're going to be printing, that's going to be a problem, because you're going to have to do multiple print on that one item, and if you don't know what you're doing when you're doing that, you can mess up that way. That's my summary for the different types of presses available, and I hope that this helps you. And If you need more information, I will leave in the description box, so be sure to check those out if you would like more information, or if I didn't tell you enough detail. These links will take you to some websites that explain more in depth, because it's only so much you can do in a video. I know y'all don't want to sit here for an hour watching a video on different types of heat presses, so I'm trying to keep it as short as I can while being as detailed as I can. But if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments section. If you like my videos, please rate, comment, subscribe, and I will be continuing this series, so be sure to subscribe if you are interested in more videos from this series, and that way you will be sure not to miss any of the videos. Please stay tuned for part 3, and thank you for watching.